This is an invitation to corruption or corrupt practices. If you don't know who is trying to influence your lawmaker.
Wisconsin's open records law is supposed to hold public leaders accountable.
But Fox 6's Amanda St. Hilaire is here to show you state lawmakers aren't required to follow the same rules as everybody else. Amanda?
Brad, Stephanie, engineers, office assistants, customer service reps, pretty much everyone who works for the city of Milwaukee or any other municipality has rules about records they cannot delete. That process gives you information and it helps avoid corruption. So why do state lawmakers get to avoid most of those rules and pick and choose the information you get to see? You pay for this. And this. And all of that. You also pay for the records that keep track of all the stuff you pay for, kind of like a bank statement. You, the press, and other organizations check your balance by requesting those records through Wisconsin's open records law.
Sunshine laws exist and are necessary because of a natural human tendency to want to do things without an audience. You know, the public records laws are there to counteract that tendency on the part of public officials.
But you can't check up on your public leaders if those records don't exist. That's why there are laws requiring most public agencies to hold on to them. Your town, city, county, most of the state.
I think we should pass a resolution.
With a notable exception.
It matters who makes the rules.
Wisconsin state lawmakers wrote themselves that exception more than 40 years ago, allowing them to legally delete emails, calendars, records showing who's influencing them and why they do things. At almost any point, for any reason.
Just like any employer would need and want the information to oversee their employees. These people are supposed to be working for us. We can't know if they're doing the right thing unless we actually have access to information about what they're doing.
Legally, those records state lawmakers are deleting belong to you. You're paying. They're just in charge of maintaining. It's like if you paid a storage unit to hold on to your belongings. Then it just threw out whatever it wanted and only gave you this when you came back. The Fox 6 investigators put all this to the test, filing open records requests with 54 state lawmakers, asking for their 2018 calendars and 2 weeks of emails. Staff for Representative Thomas Weatherston, who's retiring this year, told us the office deletes all emails from the previous year. We asked why, several times. No response. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald's staff says they delete his calendar daily. We asked why. They would not answer. We did manage to get a hold of Senator Fitzgerald's public calendar before it was deleted, showing the weeks his office said he wasn't available to answer our questions. To be fair, these are only the lawmakers who admitted to deleting records. We don't know what any of the other lawmakers might have selectively wiped out, all while other government agencies are prevented from deleting the same exact records. Is it a double standard?
Yeah, absolutely. There are some who take advantage of that and just get rid of whatever records they can so that they're not actually having to report to the public.
State Senator Chris Larson introduced a bill in 2011 that would take away state lawmakers' special exception, forcing them to keep records and turn them over to a neutral party for storage.
What happened to the legislation?
Yeah, nothing. It died. So we never got so much as a hearing to be able to explain why this was an important decision.
We called and emailed current and former state lawmakers, trying to find someone who would make a case for why they might need to delete records others are required to keep. No one would talk.
There's a sense that power is not going to voluntarily concede power. Right? It's going to be the public that demands that power is conceded back to the public.
In the meantime, you're still paying and hoping that box doesn't come back empty.
I think the more that the door is kicked open, the more that sunshine comes in, the more those bad things don't happen, and the more that the public officials act in the public interest.
Senator Larson says state lawmakers are actually encouraged to delete records to save space. He says technology advancements mean storage should not be an issue at the state capitol. For example, this 16-gigabyte thumb drive that you can get at pretty much any office supply store for a few dollars can hold at least 1.6 million pages of emails. Plus, the governor's office figures out storage for all the records it's required to keep that state lawmakers are allowed to delete. Now, Senator Larson did talk to us about that legislation that he introduced, what might be next in his push for government transparency, and we'll talk about that tomorrow morning on Fox 6 Wake Up.
Now, I mean, are state lawmakers required to follow any rules when it comes to deleting records?
Yes, kind of. So once you file an open records request, they're not supposed to delete those records if they already exist. That's how we got Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald's public calendar before he deleted it. But that's all a game of chance. You have to hope you make the request before the record is gone. And state lawmakers are not required to tell you they deleted the records, so you may never even know there was something there to begin with. And don't even bother trying to get public records from your U.S. senator or your U.S. representative, because Congress exempted itself from the Federal Freedom of Information Act more than 50 years ago.
What an eye-opener that is.
Absolutely.
Amanda, thank you.
We'll stay on it.
Well,